Welcome to today's Speakeasy. India is hailed as the world's largest democracy, but for the past 10 years or so, there has been an assault on constitutional values like free speech and freedom of expression, as Hindu nationalism has taken a toll, making Muslims and other minority groups second-class citizens. The film Offenders takes a look at those abuses and shines a light on the people who are fighting so hard to fight that. Let's take a look at a trailer for the film.
வணக்கம், நான் பெருமாள் முருகன். தமிழ்நாட்டில் உள்ள
வணக்கம், I am Perumal Murugan. I live in Tamil Nadu in a town called Namakkal. I live with my wife, son and daughter. I am a Tamil language writer. In 2015, there was some controversy surrounding my book. So I made a public announcement saying, Perumal Murugan, the writer, is dead.
இறந்து விட்டான் என்று பொதுவெளியில் நான் அறிவிப்பு செய்தேன்.
What right does she have to come here and poke her nose into our history?
So I have received hate mail from the Hindu right wing, broadly conceived, since late 2015. It's not consistent, it's not always every single day, but it's definitely every week. And at times, it's every 5 minutes. I think it shows the Hindutva crowd for what they are, which is a bunch of belligerent, anti-intellectual jerks who just want to interrupt and cause chaos rather than have any serious discussion.
Yeah, there was absolutely a connection between the revocation of my OCI and the Time magazine article. The Time magazine article appeared in May. The Prime Minister, who knew very well that I'd grown up in India with an Indian mother, was completely implicated in Indian intellectual life, comes forward and says, this guy is a Pakistani. That set the trolls completely against me. All the sort of news organizations that were allied with the BJP started to attack me. By August, I'd received a letter threatening to take away my OCI. My OCI was cancelled by the Home Ministry on Twitter.
There was one man named Batra. He and a group of his colleagues brought a lawsuit against the book under a law in India that was actually devised, ironically, by the British in the early 20th century to protect Muslims from being attacked by Hindus. And it was a law that made it a criminal offense to offend the religious sensibilities of someone in India. And anything can offend anyone. You don't have to be intentionally offensive.
The process of going through the interviews with the rapists was deeply, profoundly distressing and depressing. But nothing was as vile. Having delivered the film and then finding it was banned, nothing depressed me as much as that.
I was born into Dalit family known as untouchable community known as Madigas, and our traditional occupation is drumming and sewing sandals. There was no ideological way to contest me or counter my argument, because that's what the privileged always feel. When their privilege is threatened, they feel that they are losing everything. So therefore, I am a threat to privilege, I am a threat to injustice, I am a threat to any form of discrimination.
ಇದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಈ ಧರ್ಮನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ ಇವರು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಧರ್ಮ ನಮಗಿರೋದು ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮ.
But she was murdered because of her speech. I mean, this is fundamentally a free speech issue. But she's also being murdered in the name of the Hindutva vision of Hinduism.
Sunil Kalia directed Offenders, and he joins us today from his home base in Canada. Hello, Sunil, and congratulations on a very, very good and very timely film.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, Sunil, how did you come to make this film now?
Well, I guess the short answer is I was mad at India, the way things been going for a few years now. But if I kind of unpack, so what really happened, I do TV commercials. That's what I've been doing for many years now. And during COVID, when things kind of slowed down, I had some time and I was consuming a lot of content. I was, watching stuff, what is happening around the world. And I was especially interested in what's happening in India. And I was not really very happy with the kind of news I was consuming. And because I had some time in hand, I started writing a docu-series about 7 episodes on different subjects. And my parents live in India and they live in Delhi. They live on their own. I had a younger brother who passed away a few years ago. So I'm kind of, I try to go back home very often, spend as much time as I can with them. So my plan was after COVID, I will just kind of, spend about 2-3 months, slow down, maybe work on this TV series that I was working on during COVID. And then when I landed in India, I just didn't like this new India. It was very fundamentalist. You put the TV news on, you see communal rhetoric, you just kind of, it was just very fundamentalist. And that's when I started working on the pilot episode. I was supposed to do my first pilot episode on religion. And then I figured, I guess free speech is more important. I think that's the subject I should work on. Free speech was one of the 7 subjects of the docuseries. And that's when I started working on it. And my intention was to make a small 15 to 20 minute pilot and then, raise money and then, kind of work on the docu-series. But I think I just got too deep into it and I interviewed a lot of people and before I could realize it, I thought, I had a documentary film. Mm-hmm. So that's how it came about.
And you said that India today is not the India you grew up in. So tell us about...
No, absolutely not. You know what? I grew up in a totally different India. It was very diverse, plural, but right now, because India is governed by a Hindu nationalist far-right party, and they're almost like, they're shamelessly communal. Our prime minister has been communal on camera many times. And this is not we had fundamentalism in India while I was growing up. It's not that. And we had Hindu-Muslim issues and conflicts, but the fundamentalism was kind of undercurrent. But now this government, what they did is they kind of moved fundamentalism to the top. It's like it's mainstream now. You just see it everywhere. It's just normal. And so that is what is sad about the country now.
And so the people that you focus on in the film are really fascinating. One who stands out to me is Parimal Murugan. Tell me about him. I understand that you were a fan of his writing. Tell me how you came to reach out to him.
So I have Perumal Murugan writes in Tamil, okay? And then I do not understand and I cannot read Tamil, but he's done English adaptations of the book. Someone else has done English adaptations of his books, and I've been a fan of him. I've read a couple of his books, and I always liked him a lot. And when this whole controversy happened in 2015, I read about it. I kind of followed that controversy. And
So tell the audience what the controversy was, what happened with him.
So essentially what really happened was he wrote a book, and the right Hindu fundamentalists did not really agree to what he had written in the book. They thought it was attacking the Hindu religion.
And the central theme of the novel revolves around a childless couple and the challenges they face in their society. During an ancient festival, childless couples had the opportunity to freely move around and be intimate with their loved one in the hopes of conceiving children. I based the novel on the legend associated with this specific tradition.
He was away from his homeland for about 6 months. It was actually pretty brutal, not just on him, but also on the family, because everybody had to leave. And then when I met him in Tamil Nadu, I spoke to him and he agreed for the interview, and I met him and I had such a great time spending time with him. I spent time with his family. He took him to his farmhouse, and we spoke, and we had lunches and dinners together. So it was very, very lovely. It was a privilege. It was beautiful.
The thing that just was amazing to me, he put on his Facebook page, author Perumal Murugan has died. He is no god, so he is not going to resurrect himself, nor does he believe in reincarnation. From now on, P. Murugan will survive merely as a teacher, as he has been. So he wrote his own literary obituary on Facebook, which must have absolutely just been appalling for him to have to do.
It must have been very tough, and especially for a writer. And he loves writing. He's an amazing. I mean, he's not just he writes poems. He writes articles in newspapers. I mean, his passion is writing. And then if you take that away from a writer, I mean, you're not really living. I mean, I'm a filmmaker. If someone tells me that you cannot make films, I won't let you make films, I think I will not be able to survive. It will be very, very difficult. And if you take away writing from a writer, I mean, we should not be living in a country where writers cannot write what they want to write. And the thing is, people have an option. There is a book. If you don't like the book, don't read it. But the problem with people is that if they do not agree to a book, they don't want other people also to not read it. And that is something that is not fair. I mean, and especially when it comes to art, when it comes to books and films and anything art, there is an option to not read or to not watch the film. It's as simple as that. Stay at home, do whatever you like to do. So, and I think that is what the problem is. I mean, so we absolutely cannot do this to artists. And that's not the kind of society we should be living in.
Now, there's another person in the book, Atesh Taseer, who's a writer but a journalist. And he did a cover story on Narendra Modi for Time magazine, and they put up, what is it, Divider in Chief, I think.
Divider in Chief, yeah.
Which, you know, readers don't get to choose their headlines, but anyway, and that created a big brouhaha. So you met with him, and he said something that really hit home to you. Tell us about that.
Yes, it did. You see, the thing is, it's just something very similar about Atish. Is Indian. He has his family in India, and he lives in New York. I was born in India. I grew up in India. I lived pretty much 30 years of my life there, and I live now in Toronto, but I do have roots there. And then when I got to know that he cannot go back to India. He just cannot go back. Not even like he's he won't even get a tourist visa because he wrote an article in a newspaper that the authoritarian fascist regime of India did not agree to. And now he could not go back and meet his mother, his family. His actually grandmother died a couple of months ago. He couldn't even go for that.
And I have brought Atisha as an Indian, which he is. And I would like him, I miss him very much. And I would like him to come home.
And that just kind of hit home because, you know what, I have a similar kind of situation. I have my parents who live in Delhi. And if I am told that, okay, you know what, you've made this film, you won't be allowed to go back to India, it's something that will just kind of break me. And I think that's just something that just made me really mad. And I you know, it's sad times. It shouldn't be happening. Writers should be able to write whatever they want to. Filmmakers should be able to make the films they want to make. This authoritarian bullying is not a good thing for the society.
Well, let's just pursue that a little bit because you did have a screening of the film in Delhi in September, and there's one coming up in Bangalore in October. And they're sort of self-selected audiences, I guess, for these events because they're, you know, it's not a mass showing. But are you fearful that as the film gets out there?
Now I'm not. I was, to be honest. I was fearful right before the elections. We had elections this year, a little earlier, and now we see a silver lining. I was fearful before the elections. I was especially fearful because when I was in India last year in December for post-production, a lot of people who worked in the film actually opted to mask their names. They requested me to mask the names, and
in the credits, we see that in the film.
In the credits, yes, yeah, in the credits. So they asked me to mask the names, and because I don't really live in India, and that's what I felt like. You know, that's the ground reality. It's kind of sad that people can't even put their names in the credit. So I was a little bit fearful. But then I think these elections is a silver lining, and everybody's just kind of very happy about it. In fact, people who believe in the secular values of India are very happy. People who believe in the Constitution of India are very happy. People who are rationalists are very happy. A lot of scholars are very happy with the results. I mean, they're still in power, but I kind of have a feeling that things are going to change. It will take some time, but they're going to change and change for better.
Because their majority has been diminished, and therefore they don't have the overwhelming control of government that they did. You know, it's fascinating. I was watching the film while the election results were coming in, and it was really kind of an interesting way to see your film. And I was very interested to see that that Modi's party did not get the kind of majority that they were used to. Now, this woman in the film, Audrey Trushka, she's very interesting to me. She's an American scholar on South Asia. Talk a little bit about what she's been through in her attempt to just write scholarly, heavily researched academic books about South Asian and Indian history.
The thing about India today is that because it is governed by a far-right Hindu nationalist party, and they're just openly communal about Muslims, about not just Muslims, just any minority. And she has written a book on Muslim king, Aurangzeb.
I don't feel anything about Aurangzeb. He's been dead over 300 years. He's a king at a time that is long, long gone. And I'm interested in him as a historian, but I don't like him or dislike him. I do not love him, nor do I hate him. That whole set of questions is not helpful for me. And so when I wrote the Aurangzeb book, I didn't judge him. because how does judging the past by the standards of the present help us understand it? It doesn't.
What's happening today in India is, because we have a regime which is so shamelessly communal, I think being communal has kind of become a norm in India. It's just like, I mean, it just has become normal. It's like, so now people earlier were kind of ashamed of saying something very fundamentalist, but now, because it is applauded, people wear fundamentalism on their sleeves. And that is exactly what it is. It's just kind of Hindu Afghanistan. When in modern India, when India got independence, we Indians kind of got together and we decided that India is going to be a secular country. And that is something that we decided. And we have to live by it. And now, 70 years later, when a far-right Hindu nationalist party comes in and signals that India is a Hindu nation, or primarily a Hindu nation, and other people can live here, they will be tolerated, but primarily India is a Hindu nation. And that is exactly what is happening in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, they say, this is a Muslim nation, right? And the values will be Muslim. In India, they say all the values has to be primarily Hindu. And that is what the problem is. It should not be like that. Yes, we do have Hindu majority. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, there are millions of Muslims. And then within Hinduism, we also have caste system within Hinduism, right? That's another layer to it. So yeah, so it is kind of becoming Hindu Afghanistan. It's sad. It's just very sad, and it just kind of makes me mad.
When you were living and growing up and working in India, did you witness? You said the fundamentalists and the tension has always been there. Did you witness those things when you were coming up in India?
When I was growing up in India, yes, there was fundamentalism, but people were ashamed of it. It was not a norm. But now, if you put, let's say, news on, you see TV anchors kind of using very communal language. They're subtle about it. I mean, it's not obviously on television, but they're subtle about it. But you know that that's what is happening. You talk like my cousin comes home and we're having a little conversation about Indian politics, and he's a young 21-year-old boy. And he said, oh, you know what? India is of Hindus. That's what it's a Hindu nation. And it's just kind of sad. A 21-year-old young boy who's also educated says that this is a Hindu nation. I mean, when I was growing up, I did not really, I never felt like that. I'm not very religious. I've never been. My parents are not that. Now they are, that they're kind of, getting old. They're getting more religious, but they were not when I was growing up. So yeah, so we had fundamentalism, but it was not in the face. But now it's in the face. It's ugly. It's loud. It's shameless.
And you yourself are Hindu. What are your Muslim friends in India feeling now?
They don't feel comfortable. They feel suffocated. They don't say it openly, but I've had conversations with some of my very close Muslim friends. They are, a lot of Muslims who have the money or the means are leaving the country. Or they just kind of, just stay quiet. But yeah, it's suffocating not only for Muslims, it's also suffocating for anybody who is non-Hindu. I was born Hindu, but I am an atheist, so I don't really care about Hindu religion. So I feel suffocated. Christians feel suffocated. People who are rationalists feel suffocated. People with secular ideas feel suffocated. These are bad times in India for for rationalists.
Yeah, it's it's a challenge because freedom of expression covers so many different aspects of what we do as humans: writing, art, theater, music, film. And you can sense, from the film, the problem that the artists and journalists and writers in the country are having.
My name is Leslie Udwin, and I am the director and producer of the documentary film India's Daughter, which was banned.
The film was due to be screened on the Sunday night, the 8th of March, International Women's Day. And a young journalist came running up to me with her phone and said, ma'am, you have to leave the country. I've just had a message from my editor. Find Leslie Udwin, tell her the film has just been banned and an FIR has been put out. She should go.
What impact do you want this film to have?
I think we should just have free speech. I think we should be able to say whatever we want to, especially in India. I think dissent is something that is not allowed. It's about time that people are allowed to voice their opinions. If they do not agree to what the regime or the government is doing, they should have platforms to say what they want to say so that we can correct them or get someone else. So no, absolutely, everybody should have a platform to say whatever they want to say, and especially when somebody is saying something against the norm, something new, something which is, let's just say, which something that people are not ready to hear. So I think there should be a platform for dissent.
Well, you're having another screening next month, so maybe you'll be able to open up the dialogue about this, and maybe with these election results, things will be looking up in your country, and I hope so. And again, congratulations on a really powerful film. Thank you so much, Sunil.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.